Hello, my name is Ray, and my channel is Restoration by Alabama Creeks. I've got a good example of an old screwdriver. This is actually a ratcheting screwdriver. It's made by Sears, or Craftsman. It's a Sears Craftsman. And it has a kind of plastic. It's made what they call cellulose acetate butyrate. And this kind of plastic was developed back in the 1930s. You take your fingernail, you can scrape off this surface stuff. Evidently that's made by some kind of a bacteria that is eating on the cellulose inside that plastic, and makes that film on there. And it doesn't smell particularly good. Some people call it, say that it smells like dog vomit. But several years ago I cleaned up this screwdriver and put it in my toolbox, and a year later it's got a film on it all over again, and it's stinking up my whole toolbox. And so I accumulated a few more screwdrivers, and some of them were extremely possessed with a good coat of this moldy looking stuff. And but over the past few years I have restored some automotive headlamps, some automobile headlamps. And I restored the headlamps on my Honda Pilot. And then just this past September I restored my daughter's headlamps on her Honda Ridgeline. And it's about a 1-hour project. And it occurred to me a few weeks ago that the same material, plastic, although the automobile headlamps are an acrylic plastic, that I could use those techniques that I used on the headlamps to restore these screwdrivers and maybe make them not be stinky as quickly as that first screwdriver I restored. So I use that technique, and I used on my automotive headlamps I used a sandpaper. I think it was about started off with about 800 grit, and then went to 1200, and then I used a polishing compound. And they weren't particularly highly finished. In other words, I didn't polish them till they were crystal clear. They still had a slight haze to them when I applied the automotive clear coat to them. And I put 2 coats of clear coat. And I've used 2 different brands. And I'm not sure if I've got a preference on either one. The one that I used at first was not for sale anymore at my local automotive paint store. And this is the kind of shop, it's a specialized shop. It's not like an automotive parts store. These places, and there's only one in my community, they specialize in just parts for these automobile collision shops. And so they have lots of different kinds of sandpaper that you don't see in any of the other stores around. A good variety of grits, and then also just an unbelievable amount of auto restoration and cleanup things. Lots of different kinds of towels and cleaners and polishing things, and it just is it's very impressive. And I've really enjoyed getting to know those guys at this particular local shop, and they've embraced what I do and are quite helpful to me. So I suggest that if you're going to do this, find you a local automotive paint store. So like I mentioned, it occurred to me that maybe I could use an automotive clear coat to freshen up these screwdriver handles or driver handles. Some of these are socket drivers, and And so anyway, this was my first real test. This little Fuller, it's a Fuller 311 stubby Phillips head. It had a nice coat of this moldy looking stuff all over it. It looked very similar. And the shaft was pretty rusty, and I polished it up a little bit. Ran it through my wire wheel. I didn't really go beyond that. I just wire wheeled it, and then I put 2 coats of clear coat on it, and it's looks pretty nice to me. So after proving that maybe this could work, then I selected these other screwdrivers. This screwdriver is probably an acrylic kind of plastic, and it had no moldy stuff on it, and so it just got a light cleaning with some soapy water, and it's got a couple of coats just to make it look pretty. But the rest of these were in pretty rough shape, and now they look pretty good.